you've tested your value proposition canvas. That's good. But there's still at least 7 reasons that customers still might not buy. In today's video, we'll talk about those 7 reasons and some things that you can do to try to avoid them. Hi, I'm Steve Morris, and I use this Startup SOS channel to provide practical how-to advice for first-time entrepreneurs. So you've taken the time to develop your value proposition canvas, and you've taken the time to go out and talk to customers in customer interviews to do customer discovery. What could possibly go wrong? Surely they're ready to buy your product now, right? Well, here are at least 7 things that can go wrong, even though you completely understand correctly the customer job, the customer pain, and the customer gain. There's more to be understood to increase the likelihood that customers are going to buy. Reason number 1 they might not buy: even though you're right that the current solution isn't perfect, your solution is better, it could be that the current solution is good enough from the customer's point of view. It might not be motivating to change unless there's, enough pain involved with the current solution. Reason number 2, change is costly. Changing to a new solution always involves some cost. There's a learning curve. There's learning how to use this new solution. There's learning the workarounds for the things that maybe don't work quite as well as you would hope. There's all these unknowns that you have to deal with, as opposed to dealing with your current solution where if there are workarounds, you already know what they are, you know how to use it, you know what it can do, you know what it can't do. You are familiar with the current solution, and that makes it less costly. Reason number 3 that they might not buy is change is always risky. Your solution looks better. It makes sense that it maybe addresses the pain to be avoided better, or it delivers better on the gain. But that might not end up being true once the customer actually gets it in-house, tries it out, and realizes, this isn't as good as we thought. So there's always that risk involved that the new solution doesn't work as well as the customer thought that it might. Risk number 4, startups are risky. Buying a product from your startup is always a risky proposition. The customer can't be sure that your company will be in business a year down the road. And if you're not in business, well, how do they get customer support? That really leaves them in a lurch. So it's always risky buying from a startup. Reason number 5, it could be that, again, even though you're right about the problem that you're solving and how the current solution really could use some improvement, that problem might not be top of mind if there are 2 or 3 other problems the customer is facing that are simply more compelling. For example, if you're talking about a way to improve their productivity a bit, and what they're really worried about is a new competitor that may put them out of business, an actual existential threat, well, your solution to increase their productivity a little bit probably won't get much attention because they have bigger problems to deal with. So that's another reason for not buying. Reason number 6 for not buying: what you're proposing in the way of a new solution may actually be a threat to some people, okay? And this can apply actually in both a consumer sale and a business-to-business sale. There may be people who lose. Maybe they lose prestige because currently they're the expert on the current solution, and now they won't be an expert anymore. Or maybe their job is going to go away because it's not needed anymore with your solution. There are a lot of different ways that somebody can lose based on adopting your new solution. And that can motivate people to become internal saboteurs to try to make sure that your solution is not adopted. And if they're effective saboteurs, well, that can result in no buy. And reason number 7 for not buying is if there simply is not a compelling enough reason to buy to make up for considerations 1 through 6 that we just covered. There has to be something that's so compelling that it overcomes this idea that the current solution is good enough, or that change is costly, or change is risky, and so forth. A compelling reason to buy. So what do you do about all of these potential reasons that a customer might not buy? Well, you probably are getting the idea that this has to do with understanding more than just the specific job to be done, the pain to be avoided, and the gain to be improved on that you're focusing on in solving the problem that you're solving. A lot here depends on understanding the broader context of the customer, the situation they're in, the challenges they have, the problems they're facing. Clearly, you need to understand where the problem you're solving fits in the overall priority of issues that they're facing. So it all comes down to context. That's why in our videos on the customer interview, we talk not just about questions having to do with the job that you're addressing, but questions having to do with the overall environment the customer's in and the problems that they're facing. You have to understand that context. And if indeed what you discover in customer discovery is that there are problems they're facing that are higher priority, that are more important to them right now, it might be a good time for you to think about a pivot. Is there a way for you to address that more compelling problem they're facing? Maybe take a look at the problem that you are addressing and figure out how can that be applied more directly to the problem that's higher on their priority list. It's a lot easier to sell a solution for a problem that's already a high priority for a customer. Now, maybe you're in a situation where your solution involves a technology that's very specific to the problem you're addressing, and you can't really pivot very easily to address one of the higher priority issues. Well, an alternative, it's not as good, but an alternative is to try to educate the customer as to why the problem that you're solving really is compelling, why it is important, why it can help them be more successful. It's always easier to sell an improved solution to a customer who already knows that it's a compelling problem. The sort of education sell to educate them as to why this is an important problem is always a harder hill to climb. But if pivoting is not an option, that's your other alternative. Pivoting to address a higher priority problem is usually a better, safer strategy. And of course, the other thing to do during the customer discovery process when you're testing your value proposition is to be sure that you understand who might be threatened by adopting your new solution, who might lose prestige, who might lose their job, who might have less to do to justify their own position because they adopt your solution. And be proactive. Try to figure out how to create a win for those people who otherwise might be looking at this as a lose. Or if indeed there simply is no win, if it's true, their job is going away, at least you'll be armed with an understanding of the internal situation. So when you get into the sales cycle with your product, you'll know that that's an objection you have to address. And you'll know that you're going to have to really have a strong story about the compelling reason to buy to overcome the potential for those internal saboteurs to make it hard for you to get the sale. Bottom line, be sure that there truly is a compelling reason to buy. Having identified a better solution than what they have now is not enough. Because, again, back to reason number one, the current solution, all other things being equal, for all of the other reasons we went through, could be good enough. Good enough compared to the solution that you're proposing because of all of the costs, the risks, and so forth involved in change. So be sure that you really have identified a compelling reason to change, a compelling reason to buy your particular product, so that there really is no doubt in the customer's mind that, yes, this is important, this is top of mind, this is a problem we need to solve. If this was helpful, please click the like button, share it with other entrepreneurs, and if you have any questions or comment, please leave a comment. And of course, if you haven't subscribed yet, please do that and click that notification bell, because there are always more videos on the way. And by the way, this video is part of a whole series on customer interview, customer discovery. There's a link right here to that entire sequence of videos. And that's it for now. Thank you very much for watching.